Hi, everybody. My name is Aaliyah Clark, and I did my brochure and presentation on racial inequality in education, comparing then versus now in our system. First, I think that we should talk about what is racial inequality in education. So, racial inequality in education means that students don't all get the same opportunities in school based on their race. Even though schools are supposed to be equal, students of color, for example, Black or Latino, often have less access to resources, experienced teachers, and advanced classes like AP or honors. It's not always obvious today, but this is actually a big part of the reason why this is so problematic. Because even though we are not just deliberately segregating, there is still situations like neighborhood zoning, funding based off of property taxes, and longstanding social inequalities in our school system and in the way that our school systems are ran. Now we're going to talk about the historical background since we are comparing then versus now. Racial inequality in education didn't just randomly happen. This actually dates back to segregation. Before the 1950s, schools in the United States were legally separated by race, and schools for Black students were actually severely underfunded compared to white schools. Even after the Supreme Court case Brown versus the Board of Education in 1954 made segregation illegal, schools didn't just become equal. There was actually a lot of resistance against integration, and inequalities persisted in a lot of ways, like house patterns, and this is actually when school zoning became prevalent. So now that we have a glimpse of what it looks like then, now let's talk about what it looks like today. Today, racial inequality in education still exists. And we see this through income areas, marginalized communities living in these low income areas, and then having less funding towards their schools, larger class sizes, fewer advanced classes like AP courses, and older textbooks, and fewer resources. Students of color are also more likely to face harsher discipline. These disciplines can be suspensions compared to like white students for their exact behavior or even like replicated behavior. And we see this through media a lot too. I feel like there's a lot of TikToks or posts on Instagram or YouTube of this being a prime example in schools. But because of this, many students actually don't get the same chances to succeed academically or prepare for college. And when I say many students, I mean many students of color. And why does this matter? So, this issue matters because education is supposed to be a fair opportunity for everybody across the board. When certain groups of students consistently receive fewer resources, it creates a cycle of inequality that is hard to break. Students who don't get the support that they need will fall behind or drop out or feel unmotivated to or pushed, and then this leads to lack of opportunities like college or careers. So, let's discuss the role as a future educator and what that would look like supporting these children. So, as a future educator, it's important to be aware that not all students come from the same background or have the same support system. Being culturally aware and understanding different students' experiences can make a huge difference. Instead of assuming all students are the same, I believe that teachers should focus on being fair and unbiased within their classrooms, supporting students who may be struggling, and that also means kind of going in and researching what those signs look like. Creating an inclusive classroom environment, encouraging all of their students to succeed, not just picking favorites, and not making those favorites obvious. And small actions from educators can actually help reduce the impact of these inequalities. Some possible solutions I think would be best would be more equal funding for schools, access to better resources and technology, more support programs for students in underserved communities, training teachers on cultural awareness and bias and what that can look like physically, emotionally, and mentally. Expanding access to advanced classes for all students, because I truly believe that these changes can help create a fairer education system over time. I feel like the reason why I picked this topic was because I am somebody who works in the education system, and I have for the past 4 years. And I work in a marginalized community, and a lot of my middle schoolers fear that they won't go to college, fear that they're not good enough, fear that they won't make it out there because of their lack of opportunity and lack of people believing in them. And they are the forefront of our future. So, knowing that these children are facing such difficulties in education, a system that we are put into and then failed in, is really powerful. And I truly believe that educating those who need to be educated and run this country and run our system is the first step to creating a fairer and more proper education system for our future leaders. Thank you.